This book is the last straw. I need to do a better job at reading the synopses of the book, reading the back cover of a book, so I know what I'm getting into before I start reading a book. Talking to Strangers by Malcolm Gladwell was nothing like what I was hoping it would be. It was nothing like what I expected it to be. Yet at the same time, I'm really glad I read this book because the lessons found in it are still just as valuable as what I was hoping to receive from it. I expected Talking to Strangers to be a book about, well, how to talk to strangers, how to have insightful, engaging conversations with people that I don't know. Malcolm was going to give me some practical advice on how to be winsome when I talk to others for the very first time. Because as a pastor, I always want to be able to tell people about the joy I have received through faith in Jesus Christ, and how they can have that same joy simply by believing in Jesus for eternal life. And so I hope that through this book, I would be able to be more engaging to share my hope with others. This is not what this book is about at all. Talking to Strangers is not about how to engage or talk to strangers, but it's more about how we perceive strangers, how we size them up and judge them at first sight or in those first few conversations. Basically, Talking to Strangers is about 1 Samuel 16:7. Man looks at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. We might think we are really good at sizing people up, judging their character based on whether they look us right in the eye or give us a firm handshake or something about their appearance or the way they carry themselves. But in reality, we are all terrible at judging the content of people's heart. We're terrible at judging what goes on in their minds and their character. Through the use of some fantastic historical accounts, I think Talking to Strangers is just worth the read so that you can see Malcolm Gladwell's perspective on these numerous historical tales that are scattered throughout the book. But Malcolm uses these stories to show why we are all bad at judging strangers. No one is good at spotting lies to determine if someone is trustworthy or honest. We like to think that we are really good judges of character. We like to think that we can tell if someone is lying right to our face. We can't. Can't see the heart. So we should never judge someone else's motives. I think Talking to Strangers is especially valuable in a church setting because Christians are so often the quickest to cast judgments and throw stones, to call out another as unsaved or unchristian. But we can't really know if someone has believed in Jesus for eternal life. We can't see what's in their heart and in their minds. We can't know the motivations for their actions. Why did he give to church? Why did she choose to volunteer? We can't know because we can't see the heart. Instead, we need to follow Jesus' advice in the parable of the wheat and tares in Matthew chapter 13. And in the parable of the wheat and tares, what Jesus shows us is that based on externals, we're all really bad at judging who is the wheat and who is the tare. Instead, we need to leave it up to God and his angels to bring that judgment upon man in the final days. So let's leave the judgment of the heart up to God. I think in some ways this book is about judging others as you would want them to judge you. I don't know about you, but I don't want anybody to judge what's going on in here or in here for me. Because you can't know what's going on in my heart and in my mind. I don't want you cross-examining everything I make, looking at every single nuance to determine my character. So don't do that to others. We should be cautious when we speak to strangers because we can't tell based on their appearance and the way they carry themselves if they're lying to us or if they are telling the truth. Don't judge others based upon a glance or even based upon a lack of emotions in a time where you think they should be emotional because of what's gone on in their lives. Now, you're probably not going to agree with every single take that Malcolm Gladwell makes throughout the book. But I'd hope that we could all agree with his overall premise, and that is we can't judge. We can't size up strangers as well as we think we can. Instead, we need to look at the biblical teaching, which reminds us consistently that man can only see the outward appearance, So we need to leave the judgments of the heart up to the Lord. If you enjoyed this review, I'd encourage you to subscribe to the Rev Reads YouTube channel.